Continuing to walk in the footsteps of mathematicians, or in this case more like sailing in the wake of rather than walking in the footsteps of, I find myself in Sirmione, Italy. Thankfully, my visit to Sirmione was far less traumatic than that of mathematician Girolamo Cardano. The only negative experience for me here was a light sprinkling of rain. Cardano, on the other hand, writes of his experience in his autobiography in a chapter that he entitled Perils, Accidents, and Manifold Diverse and Persistent Treacheries. I will share his experience in his own words in a few moments. The historic town of Sirmione is an island atop an impossibly narrow peninsula at the south of Lake Garda. And it was almost as much the unique geography of this place as its association with Cardano that caused me to want to visit it. Once here, I found it to be a delightful place for so many reasons. The castle, the food, the activities, the ancient churches, the natural beauty, and the extensive Roman ruins dating back 2,000 years. It's a tiny place, but it's got a lot to offer. But back to Cardano. He stopped at Sirmione in 1525 on his way from Padua, where he was finishing his medical degree, to Milan or Pavia to visit his mother. For some reason, instead of staying on land and traveling just south of Lake Garda, he decided to cut across the lake. Here is the situation in his own words. In 1525, I was almost drowned in Lake Garda. Rather reluctantly, I had boarded a craft which was transporting some horses for hiring. During the crossing, the main mast, the rudder, and one of the two oars with which the boat was manned were broken. The sail was rent, and even a smaller mast snapped off, and at length, night overtook us. I reached Sirmione in safety after the other passengers had abandoned even their faintest hopes, and I was all but desperate. Had our embarkation been delayed by the 40th part of an hour, we should have perished, for such a violent storm gathered that the iron bars of the window shutters on the inn were bent. Though I had seemed thoroughly uneasy from the first, I contentedly ate a hearty supper once an excellent pike appeared on the table. The rest of the passengers were not so calm, excepting for the counselor of our disastrous voyage, who had, however, done efficient service in the moment of our peril. Thankfully for me, my voyage was nowhere near as eventful as Cardano's, and thankfully for Cardano and for us, he survived this experience and went on to make his mathematical contributions. He was one of the most influential mathematicians of the Renaissance and was a founder of the field of probability. More than a century later, Gottfried Leibniz, a founder of calculus, said of him, "Cardano was a great man with all his faults, and without them he would be perfect." So I invite you to raise a glass, or perhaps a triple scoop gelato, to the amazing Girolamo Cardano.